This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top four and nothing more. Kirk, here we are, man. We ended out our 2 months of music, and we are getting into some more fun stuff. This month, or these next 2 months, is all about movies and TV. Let us know, man. You're excited about this, right?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. And movies is kind of your jam. Movies and TV is kind of both of our jam. We love movies and TV. I'm so excited to finally jump into this. It's May 3rd, and we kind of made the blockbuster be with you because tomorrow's May the 4th, and we are May the 4th be with you. So we love movies, and we got a good one for you guys today. Before we get jumped into that. I just want to kind of share kind of what the vision is about the next 2 months. If you guys, anybody comes jumping in, definitely go down into the comments and leave your top four directors. That's what our episode is today. It's going to be top four directors of all time. And we have coming up next, we have top four fantasy films of all time. We're going to move top four horror films, because that ought to be interesting with a bunch of Christians kind of navigating through that. And then we're going to have the FNAF guys, Five Nights at Freddy's, 2 actors from that, Carl and Hank. They're going to join with us, and they're going to do top four video game movies. We're going to have another actor / movie star from New Orleans, the New Orleans original superhero Dopesmack, which is Joe Mexican. He's getting that Kickstarter off the ground, and he asked us to come be some extras, Andy, I think, as bikers. So he wants us to come and do some bikers. That'd be awesome. I can't wait to do that. But he's going to come on the show. We're trying to figure out what his show's all about, and then we have 2 undetermined, trying to figure out some dates, and then one other guy, General Kenobi's Bunker. A Star Wars themed YouTube. He's coming on. We're going to do top 4 Jedi. And that's going to finish our movies and TV. But man, we have a great one today. We got some friends that I've missed these guys for quite a bit. And man, I can't wait to bring them on. Before we do, hey, Andy, we went to St. Tammany Collectors Con. Hey, as you come on in, leave your comments down. We went to St. Tammany Collectors Con, and at St. Tammany Collectors Con, we met a few people. And I wanted to give a sneak peek of some of the shorts and things that are coming up, but 2 really important shorts. These guys, salute your shorts. These guys right here cut some promos for us. So, man, I want to just give this out to you guys, because we are super excited. See if you guys recognize any of these people.
What's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen from Ainsley's Comic Book Man. It's all about your top 4 and nothing more.
Sergeant Slaughter, ID number 199-20017. Catch him, maggots. This is Sergeant Slaughter from the WWE and G.I. Joe, the real American hero. And you're watching the Rushmore Show. This is the top 4 and nothing more. And that's an order. Yo, Joe! I don't know what that fellow said there in all that different type of language, but he says it'll take more than a whistle to beat him. Well, let me tell you, how does a Slaughter cannon sound?
Nice.
Yeah. Dude, I'm excited about that, man. That was some fun. That was some fun stuff, bro. But yeah, those shorts will be out soon. Be sure to go and check them out. help us with the watch time and just watch them a couple times, man. They're only 20 seconds, 30 seconds a piece. But I think it's time, Andy. Let's jump into this show, man, and welcome on our guest. We have David Finn in the house.
There he is.
Mr. Finster himself. Bro, while David's down there, dude, this dude just got a steal. He bought like a whole Pokemon store for like 50 cents this week. I saw it on. I'm jealous. I'm excited for you though, man. My son was like, bro, yeah, why didn't we buy those?
I do want to say this real quick before we go into our guests. Now that you're mentioning that came as no surprise. If you know David Finn, if you've known David Finn for years, this dude finds the deals everywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like he literally, I think he bought a BMW for like a paperclip 3 years ago. Like, I mean, I don't know how this guy does it. It's the favor of God that's on him, something, but he finds every single deal. David, you can confirm that in the comments. I know, it's true. It's kind of one of your things. So there it is. Haha, it's true. It's so true.
It's true. It's dang true. All right, anyway, man. Well, hey, I think it's time to get into this show, and we are doing top 4 directors today. And hey, let's get our guests here. Top 4 directors of all time. Let's get it.
All right, we're ready for today's episodes. Very excited. Kirk, let us know who are we bringing on today?
Well, before I say who's coming on, Nicholas, welcome to the show. We are doing top 4 directors. So as you guys come on in, leave that down the bottom. So guys, many of you know that me and Andy are youth pastors in youth ministry. I moved to Atlanta to do actual missions, to do homeless and sex trafficking ministry. And while I was on the streets, I've met several people that came and joined us. And you'll recognize one of these faces, and the other one you will probably recognize his work. But you guys, I want to welcome to the show 2 of my great friends on the mission field. First off, I'm going to welcome my buddy Kaab Omer. He has been on the show. This is his 4th time. And I'm bringing on Ben Aycrigg. This is his first time. And welcome to the show. Man, I'm so excited for you guys to be here. Kaab, I'll start out with you since you've been here a while. Tell everybody what you've been up to, man. Kaab's been on the show. This is 4th time. We were thinking it out.
5th time,
you were on Binge-worthy TV.
Sort of, kind of a 5th time.
Yeah. And you were on sitcoms for us.
And he was on reboots.
We rebooted reboots.
You had to reboot
which is hilarious.
Anyway,
I remember that.
Yeah. So what have you been up to, man?
Hey, thanks for having me back, guys. I've just been doing the same old, working at the same company, serving at the church, kind of the same old vibe. So nothing too much from me. I will say this to give you a preview of my choices today. All my picks aren't necessarily American, but they're all known for American movies. So I'm not doing the international thing today.
You're not surprising anyone.
So if you know anything about Kaab, he brings out the international flair.
Every time.
And, I have to so here's the thing. Before we say that, we have to kind of tell some of our new friends what you meant about reboot, Andy.
Yeah. So back in the Gap, we used to pre-record and put out episodes prior to doing the live situation, and we would record through Zoom. It would rip to my computer, and then we'd go through the editing process. We do all that stuff. Well, this one fateful night, we filmed with Kaab on like a Tuesday. I don't know what it was, something like that, and the computer decided to not do that. So in a panicked frenzy, we said, "Hey, let's refilm." And if you guys, I mean, you know this now, if you've been here long enough, we don't share our picks with each other. So we're actually like, even when we were pre-recording, like we were actually surprised by many of the picks, and pre-recording it for a second time without having to pick a new top 4, we had to act surprised. Like, Oh wow, really? I can't believe you picked that. Yeah, so
Awkward.
it was real awkward.
Yeah.
And I will add this: we did a game, we did a quote game, I believe, that on the Lost episode I won, and then the when we re-recorded the one that's actually out there, Kaab was the winner of the game.
And I came in
did
last
win
place in
both times because we all know you're horrible with quotes. But anyway,
But
yeah, it was good.
quote. I love them.
if I remember correctly, I won based on luck. I just guessed a couple of them and ended up being right. So don't give me too much credit.
But that's the one that's out there for the world to see. The one that I did is just folklore now. So anyway, but yeah, man, it's good stuff.
So Ben, man, you're up, man. So tell us, man, you're in the movie business. You're in Hollywood, man. Hollywood South. And so tell us why you would come on movies. Tell us what you could share, if you could share anything, because I know a lot of that stuff is top secret for you. But you're a stunt guy. That's one thing you could probably share. I don't know if you noticed, but my little message says I do my own stunts.
I should have put a message thingy there. I see it. I'm like, oh, I'm just not fitting in. I love that though. That's great, Kurt. Yeah, no, I guess I've been a stuntman since I was 19, and I'm 32 now. So I don't know. I fall in my head a lot, so I'm not going to do the math. But yeah, I've been doing stunts for a hot minute now. There was a strike for like 10 months, so we were all just kind of twiddling our thumbs around. But now I'm back to work on a Marvel film. And then once this one finishes, I'm on to another Marvel film. So I'm just kind of back into the superhero realm, and maybe after that, another superhero movie. So right now it's slow getting back to it, but yeah, working on some Marvel stuff, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Let me just say this.
I perused your IMDb today or yesterday. And I think in the movie side, you had like 73 or 74 on there. And you had some TV on there. So, but there were a lot of things out there that I had known that you had been on some of that just by hanging out with you and talking what you could share. I think when we were hanging out, you were just starting Stargirl, I think right then. And I think it was in that time frame because I remember you putting that stuff out on Instagram and being like, bro, look at this. This dude really is doing this stuff. And then you were like Walking Dead. You did some Walking Dead. Andy, he did some Walking Dead.
Yeah, did
or your boy too.
Huh?
The guy you did your stunts for in Walking Dead. He loves that guy.
Oh yeah, for what's his name? Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Yeah, I doubled him for a couple seasons. Stargirl was probably my favorite show, even though it's a show that no one's really ever seen, and I don't blame them. But it was a fun thing to do stunt wise.
Let me just say this too, though, Ben. Really just kind of meeting you now. If we ever do, if this Rushmore thing continues going on, as long as we hope that it does, and one day they will make a movie, kind of detailing this. You could play
like Jay and Silent Bob.
Ben, you can play me. You look a little bit more like me than Kirk. I would say a little bit at least.
Kaab can play me.
There you go. I'm shaking my head and everything. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm excited to have both of you guys on. This is gonna be a fun topic tonight. This is kind of one of those ones that I'm gonna be honest. Like from a director state, like this is unless you're like big Kirky Chan. Yeah. If you're big into movies, like you think about this, but I don't know how many casual fans of movies are really like, what's my top 4 directors of all time? But I think once you start, at least for me, when I started actually thinking through this list, I was like, man, this is fun. This is a lot of fun to kind of peruse through these lists. So it'll be interesting tonight for sure. We'll see if they have some, if we got some Crushmores tonight. That'll be fun if we match anything. So Kirk, I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Who do we decide is going first tonight?
So I think Cobb's going to go first since he's been here before. Kaab, you're going to start Rosie, but before you do, kind of give us your criteria as always. What's your criteria?
Sure. So, I mean, it's like you said, directors isn't something people normally think about. So I kind of base this on the movies that I like. I kind of just listed the movies I like, the ones I really enjoy watching, reminiscing about, and then kind of map them to the directors. And I kind of realized there's a clear pattern of directors that I like. So that was my pick. Now, I will say the only exception to this is my Georgie, which we'll get to in a sec. That one I knew off the bat because I love this guy. Won't tell you who it is yet, but aside from the Georgie, everything else was kind of just based on the pattern of movies that I like.
Yeah, well, get us started with Roosevelt. Give us Rosie. What you got? Where you starting?
Rosie.
I will say this. Can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah.
This is movies and TV month. So when you mentioned that your guys, if they do movies and or TV, mentioned it. And we are doing directors, but you are welcome to share other things that he's been a part of as far as writer, producing. If you know any of that, because I went logged in and I was like, yeah, a lot of these guys didn't necessarily direct it, but they might have wrote it or produced it. We are talking directors, but they might have some other work, even acting. Some of them might have even acted. So you're welcome to share any of that, both Ben and Kaab. So Kaab, Rosie.
My Rosie is it's interesting, Andy. You mentioned, I think, horror movies. You're doing an episode on that. I love horror movies. It's a great pastime of mine. So this director is actually known for horror movies. He did the first Saw, and he's known for the Conjuring franchise. So I'm talking about James Wan, or James Wan. I don't know how you say it, but I love this guy, especially the way he does horror. He's one of the few horror directors that gives me a jump scare every time I see a new movie of his. I find a lot of horror movies, you can almost predict when the scare is about to come. It's like, oh, it's coming. It's right there. But not with this guy. He always manages to surprise me. So James Wan is my Rosie based on that criteria.
All right. So sticking to
Hey, Kenneth. Kenneth is in the house. Kenneth, we're doing directors, and the first one is off round. James Wan. This is an interesting pick of all, and I know he's got great stuff. I'm pulling his work up here just to remind me. So he worked on the new Aquamans as well. He is, Conjuring. You said Malignant, MacGyver. Gosh, that's a fantastic film. He worked on some of the Fast and the Furiouses. Insidious. That's some creepy stuff. That might actually show up on my horror movies. Because Insidious, whenever something brings in children, I get kind of like creeped out. But yeah, he does a lot of horror stuff in the original Saw. The original Saw was so creative. But it's kind of doing. It's funny that he did Fast and the Furious 7. Saw is kind of like the Fast and the Furious.
I should have mentioned he's done a few things. I picked him because I like his take on horror, but I know he's done other things. It's just,
you don't adore the Fast and Furious franchise, Kaab?
I haven't seen a single Fast and Furious. But I mean, it's like on 10 now, and you did 10 in like 11 years. It's pretty crazy.
It's never going to stop. It's never going to stop.
I can't.
So, look, we have Mellow Dope in the house. We have Kenneth in the house. Welcome, guys. So, Ben, what do you think about James Wan?
I mean, I'm not horror movies are tough. Like, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. Although one of my favorite directors strictly does horror, but he's all right. I mean, I'm not I don't know. Jump scares.
I think I know who that is.
Huh?
I think I know who that is, but anyway.
But jump scares aren't really my thing. So, I mean, I think he knows how to make a popcorn flick really well, but he doesn't strike me as something that I'm like, oh, this guy, anything he makes, I'm going to go watch. But not to insult Kaab's pick. I'm just creating controversy.
So just to kind of give some preface, we have horror coming up because one of the guys we met at the convention, and we're really trying to be a little bit more open because there are some people we're meeting that were able to actually share the gospel and do some things. He is a horror writer. And so he's like, man, horror is my jam. Would y'all want to do that? And I'm like, just like you, Ben. I'm like, I mean, horror was my thing when I was like 13 and I wasn't supposed to be watching it. But, it's a kind of a hard thing for me. I do like the original Saw, the concept. And I seeing what he has, I love, but yeah, horror's not my thing either. Jump scares aren't really my thing.
I would say that when you said that there's a horror director, I thought you were going another route. So, and he may get mentioned later. you know,
It's
this
possible.
really
I
weird
think I
guy.
kind of know Ben's poor guy because we had some conversation, but I did think Kaab was the first guy that came in my mind was two other guys, and neither one was a James Bond. But we'll see. We'll see.
I'm still waiting
All
for
right,
that Fast
man.
and Furious crossover. Because Vin Diesel
That-
song, you know what I mean?
That
I'm just
would be
saying.
insane. In order to
I
win
wanna-
the race,
I
they
wanna
got to,
play a
you know, their
game.
foot's like chained to the pedal or like speed. I don't
Oh,
know.
it's so good.
The world needs
Yeah.
it. I know if James
So
Wan
Dennis
is
is
listening,
dropping his top 4 in the comments. David Finn, as soon as I saw that this is the topic, I knew my list instantly. Yeah. So David dropping that in there. I kind of knew my list too, David, but my number 4 has changed probably 12 times. Like I keep thinking of another guy and I keep moving him out. You know how that is. We've done this long enough. I think this is episode 120, and I know it's old hat. All right, Ben, you're up, man. Ben, so criteria is basically what you were thinking when you did this. I'm sure you have a different kind of criteria. We were talking off camera. I was like, you may have even worked with some of these guys, so that might be an affinity, or work with people similar that have been on these things. So that I'm curious to what your criteria is, and then we'll start with your Rosie, which is no.
Say it again.
So
You
you're
broke
going to
up
go
this.
first. You're going down, and you
Yep.
will be up.
Okay.
Just drop your criteria, and then we'll do
Okay.
your. Oh, look. Ben the Collector.
All right, well, I guess-
Over to YouTube. Love it.
All right, yeah. So I guess we'll just say director by director. I mean, they're all, I don't know, they're fairly different. I know everyone would think I would only pick action directors, but action isn't necessarily my favorite genre. Although the two of the directors, that's kind of what three of the directors is what they specialize in. But so I guess the first one I really like, just his approach to science fiction.
Ben, let me
I
make
thi-
sure I help you out.
Yeah.
So this is going to be your number 4. So just tell us your number 4, and this one's called Rosie.
Okay, my number 4 is Neil Blomkamp. Do you guys know him?
Oh, educate me.
He
Educate
did
us.
District 9. He did
I love that
Chappie.
movie.
He did what's the name of it? I'm blanking on it for some reason. Elysium. And he has that website with a bunch of short films called Oat Studios.
Yeah.
And man, the way he does science fiction, like he does it in like a gritty realism that you don't find that often. And so I found that, I just find that pretty fascinating. And the way he specializes in like every action scene he does, there's like one hyper slow motion moment. And I don't know why, but they're just trailer pieces that stick with me. I know Chappie was pretty weak, but like in Elysium critically didn't do that well, but the tone that he got, it didn't feel like a generic sci-fi film. Like we're on another planet. It just felt like this is everyday life with some crazy science fiction stuff happening.
Nice.
So he did the Gran Turismo movie.
Yeah, Gran Turismo. I'm just looking that up. Yeah.
Yep.
And so
Which
that's
I
on my
haven't
list
seen yet.
to watch. That's on my list to watch, which I heard bad things about it, but that's on my list to watch because we have video game movies coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: I do like Elysium, and Chappie was interesting. I wasn't like way off. But I absolutely love District 9, and it was
so good.
It was a pleasant surprise because I thought I was going to hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Like just because I seeing the trailer and kind of trying to figure it out. But you like now that you say that, Chappie and Elite, I can tell that it's all done by him. I just didn't know who he was.
He has such a through line with all this stuff. And this other thing he started called Oat Studios. It's a bunch of like little shorts that he made, and they're so good because it's just like free reigns that he has. Some of them are like 10 minutes, some are 20 minutes, but they're just sci-fi and different. I don't really know how else to explain it other than it's awesome. So if you have the time, watch those too.
Absolutely. Hey, we got Feral Inferno in the house. What's up, Feral? What's going
Feral
on, man?
has agreed to jump on with us in Nostalgia. So he's going to come and visit us in Nostalgia. And we'll have Feral on shortly. Gran Turismo wasn't that bad at all. Cool. Well, I'm going to watch it, get ready for Five Nights at Freddy, guys, because we're doing video game movies. So, yeah, I don't know a whole ton except for, honestly, I've seen those 3 movies. but it seems like he's fairly new, so he's probably got some things building up.
Mhm.
In the works. Andy, do you like these? Are you familiar with any of those?
I outside of District 9, I haven't really seen those other ones, but I do enjoy District 9. I do want to see Gran Turismo. So, and I like sci-fi. I do like sci-fi, and I'll agree from what I've seen, and I've seen like trailers and bits and parts of some Elysium and those different ones like that, and it definitely is different, which is good. You know what I mean? I mean, different isn't always great, but in this way, obviously it seems to work too. So, yeah, look, Aaron Brown is in here. My criteria would require the directors to be easily identifiable based on their style. That's a fantastic criteria. I love that. And that's actually,
just a reminder, Aaron is my fellow teacher. He's the STEM teacher at school. He's probably the one person that knows my list as good as I do, and I changed it. So, because we're always talking at like lunch or whatever, trying to figure out what the list is going to be.
Yeah.
Just got back from the retro game store, dropped 300 on some good stuff. Are you doing that opening soon with all that there, Farrell? Put that in the comments. Man, Farrell's going through an old Nintendo game called Crystalis. Well, he says Crystalis. I've always said Crystalis. But yeah, he's gonna do that. Andy, you're up, man. So what's your criteria?
Well,
number 4, and then
it's almost as though Aaron came on just in time, because part of my criteria is that before even knowing who the director is, I can say this is definitely, even if it's not that person, this is fill in the blank esque, right? Like this is definitely, there's a unique style to it. So in formulating my list, to be honest, outside of like the big few like directors that everybody knows the names of, I didn't want to just jump at those necessarily. Not that they're bad, but I wanted kind of Kaab, like you said. I just listed out, hey, here's my favorite movies, and then I figured out, man, here's a director. I'm going to look at their filmography, and I'm going to say, man, this is great. This is fantastic. That's kind of where I went. So they all kind of have their own unique style. They have put out, directed some of my favorite movies in existence, and I listen for Rosie. Kirk, like you, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Who do I want in here? Who do I not?
Go back and forth. I might change it right now.
Yeah, and here's the deal. Now I'm set. So my Rosie is actually my only female director today, and she's done so many different things. Like this is movies and TV month. But I think a good bridge between what we did before and now is she's actually directed quite a few music videos. And I didn't honestly know that until I was doing the research. And I was like, dude, I've got to find a way to get her in here. She was going to be a Benjamin. She was going to be Rosie. And I said, you know what? I'm settling. I'm putting her at the Rosie because I think she deserves more than just a lightning round recognition, right? So my Rosie coming in at number 4 is Penelope Spheris, right? Penelope Spheris. Now, if you know me, my favorite movie of all time, Wayne's World. She's the director of Wayne's World, right? So she did The Decline of Western Civilization, Suburbia. She did Wayne's World, Beverly Hillbillies, Black Sheep, The Little Rascals, 1994.
Black Sheep.
Yeah. So she did some great movies, right? But on top of all of that, Kirk, you're going to love this, man. Living in the 80s here. Turn Up the Radio by Autograph. She did the music video for. No More Mr. Nice Guy by Megadeth. Don't Know What You Got Till It's Gone by Cinderella. And I Want to Rock by Twisted Sister. I Want to Rock by Twisted Sister. All of those are directed by Penelope Spheris. It was a really cool time. Obviously, Wayne's World, kind of this whole 90s rocker, kind of just this young comedy. Black Sheep is another fantastic one that she directed. Little Rascals, all of that kind of stuff. In my nostalgia of being 90s, 2000s kid, this is right up my alley. So I had to put Penelope Spheris in there, and also kudos to her. This will be my one that has some credits for some music videos too. So that's my Rosie, my number 4.
Now that you told me she is Wayne's World, it is not a surprise. But I love all the extra tidbits that you brought in. The Beverly Hillbillies I saw was in there, which is quite interesting. The newer one, I guess, the one in the 90s.
Yeah.
This isn't a shocker when I saw the list.
Yeah, she's got a good list.
Do you guys know Penelope Spheres?
I mean, I've seen like Little Rascals and stuff, but it's not. No, the other one is Beverly Hillbillies, and that's not.
What about Wayne's World?
Well,
no, I've never seen that either. Yeah.
No,
I'm you know, Andy, what I just learned, my 6th grade school teacher was a huge fan of this director because she showed us nearly every one of these movies in class, and I had no clue. I never knew that was the common thread, but
no, and I would say she's
Little
probably
Rascals, Senseless, Beverly
she's probably
Hillbillies.
not a name that you're gonna pull out of a hat. Like she's just not. She's not the common name, but I knew her from Wayne's World. But again, looking at her whole kind of catalog of everything, it was really impressive. I liked the extra music videos. Those are some great, and she did a Megadeth video. How cool is that? So
yeah, these are great
I
movies.
used
I
to
just
turn
didn't know
up
they
the
were all
radio though,
by the
because
same
that
person.
Autograph song is off the chain. Which that's got to mention sometime in the past here. So, man, yeah, that's not where I would. I mean, she wasn't even on my radar because there are so many good ones, and I mean, I guess it's now my time to kind of jump in and kind of move this journey along, get through our first Rosie criteria. The criteria has changed as I've gone. Very much like David Finn, he said my first top 4 came to me. I had about 9 or 10 just boom, 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 which are all the big dogs, right? All the big guys. And I tried to find a way to stray away from the big dogs and get kind of like, what are some other ones that I know? And I was trying to think of cool movies, and I was like, who's the director? And then it would tell me one of those big dogs. And then I'd go find another movie, and then boom, I'm a different big director. And then I'm a different one. Oh, maybe it wasn't him, but he produced it. And then, so I ended up being in this big circle of, well, I like these kind of movies. Let's scroll back. I have an extremely large list for the Benjamin side of things that I will attempt to post. I always say that, but I hardly ever do it because there are just a bunch of really good ones. My 4th has changed over and over again. I almost changed it just now, and I'm going to keep the one I think I'm going to put in there as a Benjamin if it makes it there. If it makes it there. I don't know that he'll make it there. I don't have any females, though, so that was a surprise. I'm going to go with my Rosie, my very first one, and this might be way up the top of the list for some other people, but I'm going with James Cameron. Man, I'm coming out hot. James Cameron, a fellow Canadian of Kaab. But look, man, started in 1978 with Exogenesis. He's done Piranha, but then he went Terminator. He didn't direct, but he was a part of Rambo. He directed Aliens, The Abyss, Terminator 2, True Lies, Titanic, Avatar. He helped write Solaris. He didn't do the next Terminator, but then he did the newest Avatar, and he's already directed being a part of Avatar 3 and 4. And then you go on to some of the documentaries that he's done, which is fantastic. And he has other things like television and whatnot. But, I mean, just the Terminator films, the Alien films, and the Avatar films alone, 3 huge franchises that I love. And again, I was trying to find a reason to get him off because he's kind of boring. Like when I've seen a documentary on him, he's just kind of run of the mill, whatever. But the guy's a genius when it comes to direct and feel, and I just love. I kind of given this away when it comes to horror movies. Aliens is on it. It's probably the George. Yeah. I mean, it's there, and so that was one of the reasons I was thinking about him. But Avatar, the franchise, just went to Disney World. Love the franchise, love the ride, and I love what they're doing with that. But I mean, True Lies is an underrated comedy action flick. I absolutely love that freaking movie. It is so tongue-in-cheek, smashing on action. And you know, that freaking Uzi going down the stairs and shoot. I mean, it's just gold. But James Cameron, am I going to be my Rosie starting off really hot?
That's fantastic. I thought you were going to say Kirk Cameron, but not much of a director there. We're a Christian show. We put Kirk Cameron in there. No, this is great. James Cameron, fantastic. I mean, for all of the movies that you mentioned, it's wild, man. Again, what I was trying to do when I'm doing mine, there's a lot of what I've noticed is that there's, a lot of crossover between producer, director, writer, those three kind of, in a lot of these movies kind of, or sometimes they're multiple, right, of those things. But if you just look to what he directed, it's wild, man. And it's crazy that he's your number 4. So I'm excited to see what
Yeah.
Right.
Kirk starting us off hot. I can't wait to see the next thing.
Starting off hot. So
Titanic.
Aliens, Terminator, Terminator, Titanic. Oh, and Avatar. I mean, that's huge.
Avatar.
That's a top 4 for a lot of people.
It's such a solid pick. I can't wait to see what's even more solid. That's what I'm excited for.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the first round, man. Do you guys like? So what about James Cameron for you two?
Oh, I like him. I mean, all the movies you mentioned, I've seen them all. I love them. So
Ben, have you met James Cameron?
I've never worked for him. I've had a lot of buddies who have, and they have very interesting stories about the man.
He seems kind of like macabre, just kind of like stoic.
He's very intense.
Doesn't seem like very fun. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. From what I've heard, he just gets what he wants, and he'll just yeah. I mean, and he's very good. So it's like a lot of these directors that are that level. I mean, they don't get to that level by just being sweethearts. So sometimes you got to run a ship of, however many people on set, and you got to run it tight. So a lot of respect for the guy.
Nice.
Sweet, man. So that's our first round. So Roosevelt is done. Now we're moving on to TJ Jazzy. Jeff. Kaab, you have maybe Austin Powers is what you're going for. What's happening? But
this is normal. We cuddle.
Yeah, Mr. Bigglesworth, you're up for TJ Jazzy Jeff.
Oh, I'm up again. Okay. My TJ Jazzy Jeff. Okay, I love this director because I love his take. He adheres to what I call the old school way of making film. So much so that he only shoots on film, not even digital. And just his artistic sense, it's just so cool. He's done westerns, he's done all sorts of things, and I'm talking about Quentin Tarantino.
Hey.
I love Django Unchained. I love Inglourious. Hateful Eight is probably his favorite, his best movie in my opinion.
Really?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I love him. So I would say he's kind of my
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction. How could I miss that? So the only debate for me was, do I rank him as number 2 or number 3? That was my only debate. I ended up settling on 3, but I mean, it's a close one.
I think if he's going to make it into your top 4, and that maybe that bears a little conversation. Sometimes these lists, and I'm not saying yours is this way, but sometimes these lists for me, there's no separation between 1 and 4. I mean, they're just that good that it's like, okay, just this is formality now to put them in order. So, but yeah, this is a great.
Dawn, Kill Bill 1 and 2, Reservoir Dogs, Inglourious. Django Unchained was a fantastic film. Jackie Brown, The Hateful Eight, and then
I love the Hateful Eight.
I mentioned this.
It's so good, man.
I mentioned this. He's an actor too. He's in some of the films. A lot of the films that he does, he's in his own films. He plays little fun parts. But I mean, I'm going to say this, and I'm giving it away. But Aaron's putting his down there. I'm pretty sure Tarantino's coming on his list. And that one of the reasons is that his criteria was you recognize it. All of Tarantino films, you can pretty much there's just this a style that you're like, is this a Tarantino film? Yep, it's a Tarantino film. I love it.
I'll say the scene, the bar scene in Inglorious. I don't want to say the word on this show, but Inglorious. That's one of the greatest scenes I think ever filmed. So right on.
So like I said, look, Aaron's giving it away right here. QT Solo Blasphemous.
I'm sorry, Aaron. It was a close one. It was a close one. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that bar scene. Well, there are a couple really great scenes in Inglorious. The
Hitler
that
scene.
fight with the bat at the bridge was just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
When they kill Hitler, it's crazy. It's wild.
It's amazing.
But he's so fun, man. And in Kill Bill 1 and 2, there was a time that was probably on my Rushmore movies. Like I watched it so much in college. I loved it a lot. Death Proof was fun. I remember it was like a double-sided thing with was it Rodriguez did the other film with that? And it was one of those double features like back in the day that you would go to like they tried to make it like was it the chick with the shotgun leg or what was it, or chainsaw leg, whatever it was? She was the other girl, the other movie. Anyways, Tarantino's so creative. Cool thing. Django Unchained right there was probably my number one now though.
Django.
After watching that, I can watch that several times. Yeah.
Yep. Good stuff, man. Great pick. Can't believe it's 3. That's crazy. All right, but let's go to Ben. Ben, what you got? What's your CJ Jazzy Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, okay, of course, I would probably put Tarantino on like a true list, but I'm like, I just want to pick lesser known directors that I'm like, I think these guys have bright futures. And this guy, I don't know if I'd say is a bright future, but I just absolutely adore his style. And it's not by any means is he a family director. Like his films are gritty and violent, but they're so good. It's this guy called S. Craig Zahler. He directed this. It's Brawl in Cell Block 99. This other one called Bone Tomahawk. There's other one called Dragged Across Concrete. And they're intense films, but just the way he will shoot a fight, it's just super wide and he lets things happen. The way he writes his characters are just bleak, and the soundtracks are very minuscule, and you feel like you're caught up in every single moment that he puts on camera. And the guy's like this huge D&D nerd. He's just kind of like this goofy guy who creates these like guy kind of films. And I wouldn't normally be like, these are the ones, but I'm like, anything this guy does, I will watch it and I will probably love it. Yeah.
Nice. I have not heard of this guy at all.
Yeah,
I don't really know him as well, but it looks like he also, I mean, Bone Tomahawk, I've heard of that because I've actually seen the trailer for that, but I think that's his first film. Oh, no, 2011 and 2006. He did some smaller stuff, but I guess 2015, Bone Tomahawk. So he's only really been in the game for a little bit. So he doesn't have a huge library.
No.
But all these look really gritty. That's a good word.
And that's just. And I'm big on. I love like films of the past too, but I like seeing people take the medium and take it to a new level. And I just see guys like him who can take things to another level that I've just never seen. Like. He took Vince Vaughn and made Vince Vaughn this like savage killer in Brawl in Cell Block 99, where basically he just has to fight his way to a very intense prison to save somebody. And he took a goofy guy like Vince Vaughn and made him terrifying. And I'm like, that is so cool.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at that right now, and he looks creepy, bro. He looks like
it's worth a watch.
And anybody that names a movie Dragged Across Concrete, that's
like a Pantera song.
It looks, is Vince Vaughn in that too?
Yeah, Mel Gibson. Like he's that kind of director that guys are like, I want to work
is also in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm gonna have to check this out. Look, in a nutshell, brooding, gritty, and gripping.
There you go. There you go,
dude.
Nice.
Nice.
Pick, man.
Nice. I mean, to I knew this is what was going to happen. I kind of was like talking to Kaab and everybody. I was like, yeah, he's going to bring some stuff that we don't know because, you know, he's probably a little bit more just, you know, natural on the film side of things.
Hey, we got Zach's Sporting Cards and Collectibles in the house. What's
Welcome,
up,
Zach?
man?
Death Proof and Planet Terror. Yes. For the girl with the gun leg. Yeah, it was like a double feature. They were doing like when you show up to like a drive-in theater, you would pay like $1 to see a double feature. That's what they were going for. Alan Williamson in the house. Alan won the Pop back in the day, and then he's got a great little channel. Him and his family, and he put a Paw Patrol short out, and that thing is like, I don't know, 250,000 views.
Nice.
Anyways, it's crazy. Death Proof was awesome. It was cool. Zach, yeah, man. Welcome to the show. I've seen you around before. Settle in a little bit. We're talking top 4 directors. Yeah, and welcome.
Real quick,
so Andy, you're up, man.
Death Proof is the reason why I won't let anybody put their legs up on the dashboard of the car. If you remember that scene,
yes,
not happening. Just not happening. So anyway, so getting into my TJ Jazzy Jeff, there's no doubt in my mind this guy was going to make my list. I just wasn't sure where he was going to make it. It's tricky because there's just so many good ones. But I put him at TJ because we gave him a lot of love actually a couple weeks ago. There's no doubt in my mind he had to make the list, and I'm picking John Hughes. John Hughes has to make the list today. 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Plane, Train, Automobile, She's Having a Baby, Uncle Buck, Curly Sue. I mean, the 80s wouldn't be the 80s without John Hughes. Like, it just wouldn't have been it wouldn't have been a decade. Like, what would have happened with those movies not ever existing? The Breakfast Club?
Pretty in Pink. Yes, Patrick. Yes.
I'm just
Patrick,
listening.
welcome to the show, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Man. Welcome. Caleb
Clark to the show.
There you go. Strong point. Yeah, that's the thing, is that so many people, I believe, and Kirk is probably in this number. I was only in the 80s for 3.5 months, but so many people, like, part of their identity, and I don't want to say it's John Hughes, but like that love and nostalgia for the 80s can be wrapped up in the music, but that music tie-in, and that's what we talked about a couple of weeks ago, John Hughes music, right? Songs from that are just have defined a generation. So this guy's fantastic. He found a niche. And again, you can, to my criteria, there's a definite style, right, to this. I mean, if you see Molly Ringwald, and it's probably a John Hughes film, but outside of that, just like this whole coming of age, like you can see movies, that even continued into the 90s and early 2000s that you were like, yeah, they were inspired by John Hughes. Like this is what they were going for, and it was amazing. So I couldn't escape today without mentioning John Hughes again.
Hey, let me just shout a few people out. Edwin's Video Games, welcome in. Patrick Little, welcome in. Caleb Clark, welcome in. This is for you guys. All
welcome
our friends that are at the show, the Summit Squad, and this is episode 120. And we're doing directors. We're doing movies all month. Actually, all the next 2 months. We got lots of other folks coming on. And if you're here, drop your top 4 in the group as we go along. And it would be super helpful if you hit the like. And if you like us, bro, stay a while and hit that sub, man. So yeah, no idea John Hughes did Uncle Buck. Let me tell you. John Hughes killed it. We've done several research on John Hughes. We had a whole episode on soundtracks about him a couple weeks back. And the reason we had that is because I brought up soundtracks. We've had Ferris Bueller on here so many. I'm going to tell you, Andy, I'm going to shock you possibly. He was my number 1 or 2 Benjamin. And he wasn't the one I was trying to get on the list, mainly because we've talked about him so much.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I was really trying not to do him, but I kept being compelled to go back. here's one of the things that kind of gets me. He just passed away recently, but after the 80s, he didn't really have much of a filmography.
Yeah.
Like he had a few hit or misses here. I really wish, he would have brought up something out in the 2000s. Like that is just iconic as well. He was such a great guy, but he switched over. We talked about it in that show. One of the things that may have kind of held him back a little bit, but fantastic. There's not a single film. Not a single. Most of his films I love and I'll rewatch.
He did write the script for Home Alone and Home Alone 2. So he did bring his magic
that too,
in a weird way.
Yeah, so I didn't put him as a director of that, but he did. Yeah. I did mention the theme song from Home Alone in my John Hughes songs.
Yeah.
He absolutely did. Even though, absolutely. I mean, it's a great pick. It's just an absolutely amazing pick. So it's my turn, and Andy, it's right on cue, to be honest, because here's the thing. I'm gonna pick another guy so I felt like, man, I could say John Hughes, and it would be like a beating a dead horse. And I knew he would actually get on the show eventually, at least by the Benjamins. But I'm going to bring up another just amazing 80s guy to me. And a guy that went even a little further into the 90s and whatnot. But I'm going to go with Robert Zemeckis. And look, if you know me, I love Back to the Future. It was on my franchises. It was on when we did the very first movie month, May the Blockbuster Be With You. We did franchises, and I couldn't not mention this. But I mean, you've got when you bring up Zemeckis, you bring up Forrest Gump, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Jeez, what a tongue twister. Castaway, Polar Express, Flight, The Walk, and of course, the two biggest, Romancing in the Stone and the Back to the Future trilogy. But it goes on and on and on. He's got other things. He's friends with the big group, the big guys. There's a lot of some of the other guys that we're going to probably mention eventually in this show before the ending. When you get through all of the 16 extras, you have to talk about the influences and the other guys that he's partnered with. And so I'm going Robert Zemeckis for my almost all 80s guy.
That's a great pick. That is a great pick. I think, he's that other side of the 80s. There's those couple of keystone guys that make up this decade. So can't get through there too. But Polar Express. I mean, he's to our point about John Hughes, kind of the 80s ending. And I mean, what did he have? Drillbit Taylor. I mean, and Home Alone was like the early 90s, but I mean, we can still consider that same time.
Yeah. And unfortunately, he died kind of young. Talk about Hughes. So, he can't make anything else. But right. I love the 80s. I want to bring in some of that. And I kind of brought in a little bit with Cameron. I understand that. James Cameron did Alien and Terminator. He was an 80s guy too. But, I mean, he's still making films. That's just what I'm talking about. Avatar franchise is amazing. Look, we're talking about these mentions 3 and 4. Robert Zemeckis. That's going to be my guy on number 3. What you guys think about Zemeckis?
So, I'll have to admit, I didn't realize the same guy that did Back to the Future was, this guy, the same guy that had done Castaway and the Polar Express. So I would say,
which is kind of crazy.
I'll say this, with my criteria and a little bit of what we were mentioned before, like having a signature style, like he's all over the place. You can't pinpoint him down to a specific style, which, good or bad, whatever you consider that to be. I mean, he's put out amazing films, so whatever there. But you definitely, it's difficult. It's difficult to pin him down.
I appreciate Patrick's picks down here. Look at this. So he pulled out 4 with Scorsese. I love that pick, and these 3 right here are probably going to get mentioned more today, somewhere or the other. So great.
It's fantastic.
There you go. Lucas
Yeah.
and Spielberg. I'm sure those guys are getting mentioned as well. So, all right, man. Andy, you're up. No, sorry, we're
No,
wrapping back around. I've got to get out of the music. You were after me all year, all the last 2 months. So we're halfway through. We're halfway through. Yeah. So, guys, we are halfway through, which means this is time for us to kind of share a little bit of love with us. Here's the deal. Both Andy and I are youth pastors. We're both teachers, parents, and we just love the next generation. We love people. We've had an amazing opportunity over the last few weeks to be invited over to these conventions, and we've been going to these conventions. If you just got here, you missed our debut of the shorts of Sergeant Slaughter and Ming from Comic Book Men. I showed them before. They're going to be coming out in the next couple days. Please go and help us and watch those. Shorts, they only are 20 seconds, and if you can watch them 2 or 3 times, it'd be fantastic. But at these conventions, we've been welcome to not only just hang out at them, but to preach at them. And Andy and I are both called to, the next generation, and we love kind of hanging out. We always knew that the Rushmore Show was bigger than just hanging out and talking pop culture. What are we going to do with it? Originally, we thought that we were probably going to do some kind of fundraiser, raise money, and do some kind of missions field. Because I was working in missions. Andy and I both have been on missions. If you've been around with us long enough, you've seen he's gone to Argentina several times. But raising money or doing some of that, and that's not the direction that we felt it's pulled us and brought us. But now we feel we are preaching at the convention. And so our ministry, which is right down here, is called Reboot. And which is funny because Kaab was the one that did the reboot, and we rebooted Reboot. He did the Reboot episode with us. And Reboot is just our friendly or a different word, techie, nerdy word for being saved, right? And to be born again. And this is our clip for you. And it kind of goes with what we're talking about today. So check this out.
Prepare to make the jump to light speed.
They're getting closer.
Oh yeah? Watch this.
So coming soon to a convention near you, which this weekend is Game Jam South. I would love to get there, but my son is got a playoff game tomorrow, and I would love to go meet some of those folks. But we're gonna hopefully we get to go to Siege, which is the Southeastern Game Exchange over in Greenville, I think it is. Hopefully we'll make it over there, but we don't have a booth there. We're just gonna go visit and kind of just love on people and meet new folks. And we really want to, dude. What are you doing? Sorry, I'm trying. Like, quiet. So, anyways, you see, come on, hang out. He's trying to sneak on in here. Retro Cannon. So here's the deal. We want to share the love, and so with that being said, we'll be at the next St. Tammany Collectors Con. We'll be at the next Louisiana Retro Game, which is the Retro Con. And I wore this, one, because of that, but two, the Five Nights at Freddy guys that we met here are going to be on our show in a couple weeks. So come and hang out. And other than that, we've got some other friends. These guys right here, Culture Box, that we've been partnering with over the last year or so. And they are Christian creators. And they're going to come on, and we're going to do Nerd in the Word. And hopefully, maybe even Kaab and Ben could join in. But something like we will preach with Star Wars, because that's kind of what we did with Star Wars as the backdrop of getting saved in faith or the Force or whatever. Because all these new friends that we're meeting at the cons, most of them don't have a church, and we are trying to get them plugged into whatever. But maybe they can find some love here that they can relate to until then, called Nerd in the Word. And that's going to be over the summer. We're going to plan that all out and have some creators come on. But now it's time to talk about some of those creators right here, the Culture Box. And Andy, do you have someone in the Culture Box that we could share with them today?
I do. Ooh. Before I do that, real quick, I've been watching X-Men 97. That's been the latest, like, just love for me has been X-Men 97. And I'm not going to give you any spoilers, Kirk, don't worry. But if I can't believe you made it this long without watching it or watching too far into it. I have some Devos already planned. I've been watching this with the mindset of reboot. And this thing is chock full of just possibilities to have devotionals through. So, and the fact that Nightcrawler's in it now too kind of helps out with that. So anyway, continuing on,
that was gonna be my Easter message was the Magneto, the story of Magneto.
Yeah, there's a better story that's happening right now, or that already happened in there. But anyway, let's give a shout out to our friends over at Culture Box. And specifically, we're going to talk about our friends at Stunning and Brave. Each week, host Chris Cowan of the Babylon Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They will make you laugh. That's right. You have no choice in the matter. Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net. Give them a like, give them a shout out, let them know that we sent you over here from the Rushmore Show. And Mr. Bigglesworth is just staring us down, ready for what's happening next.
Ben had the intermission and had to go to the movie was an intermission. So
yeah.
Hey, well, welcome back. We only lost 2 or 3 people in that, but stay here. Hey guys, do me a favor. Go support all of our friends over at Culture Box and be on the lookout for all those things, reboot and that Sergeant Slaughter and Ming videos that are coming out this weekend. But it's time to jump into our second half and finish this mountain. Kaab, Mr. Bigglesworth has made his way back to your back.
Hey.
What do you have for a link?
She keeps me warm. Hey, shout out to David Ramirez and Daniel Duque. They're on the live stream.
So let's shout them out. I see them.
Baby Driver is the best movie ever.
He's heckling me. All right, I love it. Thanks, Daniel.
Rumor has it they were at Korean barbecue and just finished. So now on this. Okay, sorry. Oh, okay.
There it goes.
I guess she got tired of that one. So
your link
guy, I'm not just picking him because he's Canadian or Canadien. I truly like his movie making style. It makes you think, and I really like movies that kind of force you to stay up, think. Movies like Arrival with the language twist, or Blade Runner, or Dune. So I'll say his name in the French pronunciation first: Denis Villeneuve or Denis Villeneuve. That's my pick.
Okay,
and,
let us know. Why'd you pick him?
So I mean, this will kind of relate to my Georgie, but I really like movies where you can't casually watch them. You kind of have to pay attention to see what's going on and kind of stay awake for it. So I feel like Villeneuve does this really well in his movies. If you're kind of daydreaming through his movies, you'll miss like a detail or something, and the whole movie will not make any sense. So I like movies that kind of keep you I guess processing your thoughts. So yeah. I like him. I may have inadvertently given away my Georgie, but I guess we'll wait till I say him.
Yeah, so I have him on my list of Benjamins, and I wasn't sure that you guys would actually pick him because he is he's kind of unique. He did the newest Blade Runner. He's had he's done the 2 newest Dunes. And if you're a part of that, but he had some really cool stuff before. I love Sicario. That was a cool movie. He did Prisoners and Enemy, and then I don't know anything before those. The Incendies, Polytechnic, Maelstrom, August 32nd on Earth. I'm not really familiar with that, but he has a lot of short films. Yeah, so I do like those other. Oh, and Arrival. Arrival was a good movie too.
Arrival.
I saw that too. I have not seen either one of the two new Dunes, but I do plan on watching those. I actually was kind of saving them to right around now. My fraternity brother was supposed to join in, and he wanted to do our episode with something similar to that. And I was going to watch him like closer to the thing, and he wasn't able to join us. So I had been saving them, so now I have to go and watch them. But
I like should highly recommend.
I like this pick.
To your point,
nice pick, Kaab.
To your point, I'm not adamantly against movies that make you think. I will just say the movies that I rewatch, I don't want to have to think and be, you know what I mean? Like, I'll watch them and I appreciate it and they're cool and all, I get it. But if I'm going back to it, most of the time when I'm watching a movie, I just want to escape. You know, that's give me an hour and a half to 2 hours of just, and I'm a big comedy fan, which is why I had Penelope Spheris and John Hughes in here so far. But you know, again, that's just a personal taste thing. So
I mean, that's fair. I mean,
yeah,
that's totally
just
respectable.
How my brain is, I don't know. But again, not to say that I don't appreciate the movies, not to say that I don't understand their that they merit being on the list like this. But again, it's not the ones that I'm gravitating to, as I would say. But there are certain ones. There are some that, for whatever reason, capture me, but not as a whole. But anyway, that's a good pick, man.
And do you like him?
No, he's excellent. Yeah, like you said. I mean, Sicario, like that says enough right there. Arrival's excellent.
Look at this. Look at Normal Khan coming in. Edgar Wright, John Carpenter, Kubrick, and Tarantino. Those four guys all have a very similar vein, honestly. I mean, they're all very, yeah, I love it. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. Yeah, he's a good pick, man. I'm shocked he's on the top 4. And I love that. I love that. He deserves to be there. Some honorable mention. Giving all the good ones away. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, you're up, man.
All right, yeah, I guess the third dude. I mean, he's my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. He directed Whiplash, Babylon. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. La La Land and First Man. Damien Chazelle. The guy. Whiplash. I could talk about for hours, but I won't do that. But he made jazz feel like an action movie, and I never thought that was possible. But he made music intense, and I grew up in a family that loved jazz, so to be able to see that, like, portrayed like that on screen, I was just like, all right, this guy, anything he does, I will watch. Yeah, so Damien Chazelle, it's my third pick.
Nice.
I'm surprised he's not your number one, given.
Well, my number one. Well, yeah, okay, fair.
I'm just saying, you're always screaming about Whiplash.
He also has a movie called The Stunt Double, which may be why part of the reason that you picked him too, huh? No, I don't know.
Oh, he did 10 Cloverfield Lane too. That's an interesting movie.
Damien Chazelle did.
I mean, it's on his list of movies. I don't know that he directed it. He might.
He wrote the screenplay. He didn't direct, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know these movies. I haven't seen these. I mean, I know of La La Land, and I know like of some of these movies, but I've never watched.
Did La La Land win Best Oscar movie?
Well, it won, and then it was actually Moonlight that won that year.
Oh, so that's right.
They gave the award, and then they took it back.
Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone.
That was the whole gaffe by, what was it? Was it Steve?
Steve Harvey, yeah.
Steve Harvey. It was his gaffe, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
but it's mostly because of, I don't know. I just, Yeah, Whiplash is.
I've
is
seen
incredible.
Whiplash, and I agree it is intense for a music movie.
Mhm.
I honestly, especially after Maverick, right?
Mhm.
Especially after Maverick, I just love everything that guy does. The guy that plays Miles Teller.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Miles Teller. He's in that Whiplash movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that movie. That's a pretty cool
So
movie.
good.
Andy, you would love that movie too. Like he's playing drums and whatever. It's just like intense.
No, I'm sure I
Like,
would. I never.
the guy, like he's being like trained, and what the guy is. It's just like intense coaching, and it's really cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to look it up, man. You guys are giving me. You guys are giving me.
Probably watch that movie. I don't know. Well, Andy, you're always a comedy guy, but I think you'd love that movie just because of the musical side of things.
Mhm.
Man, I love where you're going with your picks. Man, that's a really good one. All right, well, I'll just say this: my next two were kind of in concrete for me. Yeah, they were kind of in concrete for me, and I'm kind of.
Well, hold on, you're skipping me. I go.
Well, say,
Oh, yeah,
Kirk. Man.
I could get. I'm
You're
very
just
moody.
taking over here. No, let me take my rightful spot and give you my link. Dude,
Do it.
Listen. I feel like we've had this conversation. Maybe it was just in passing. Maybe it was whatever in the green room. Maybe it's comments, whatever. But I agree with Aaron Brown all the time. All the time. And he just said it. My number 2 is Steven Spielberg. I mean, there's no doubt. No doubt. Steven Spielberg. Here we go. I mean, if you want to say who's got one of the most impressive lists of directing credits, Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Raiders of the Lost Ark, E.T., Twilight Zone, the movie, more Indiana Jones. I mean, The Color Purple, right? He's got all Hook, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan, Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can, The Terminal, War of the Worlds. I could just keep on going. Lincoln, Bridge of Spies, The BFG, Ready Player One, West Side Story. This guy's it's insane. I think about this. These guys that have all of this, and granted, he's much older than I am. I understand that, but still, like, I get stressed when I have like 2 papers to write in a week. You know what I mean? Like what is this guy doing? He has the same 24 hours in the day that I do. But anyway, yeah, Steven Spielberg. There's no doubt to me. This guy is probably, like I said, has the most impressive catalog, of all the films that he's been a part of. And there's no way that this list can be mentioned without him. I know it's not all the way in my wheelhouse of movies as far as like the comedy side, but I love every one of these movies. They're just so good. They're so good. And we talked, I think, a lot, pretty in length about Ready Player One in the first 2 months. At some point, we had mentioned that quite a few times. But yeah, Steven Spielberg, number 2 on my list. He had to make it for sure.
I'll just say this before we get going. Aaron and I have become pretty good friends at school, Andy. And one of the reasons is he's very much a lot like you. As I've told him this, y'all are both 9s. I'll tell you that. And he has very similar taste, even in music, right? Like some of the stuff. That's why I told him he needs to come on the show, but we'll have to keep twisting his arm for that one.
Come on,
but
Aaron.
I absolutely love that. This is a fantastic pick. I'm surprised I haven't seen it more in the comments, to be honest. And I love, unless you're saving him for number 1. Well, I mean, maybe, but he is fantastic. I mean, all the movies you just said, and some of those, when I was looking up, like Hook, like that's one of the ones I was like, oh, I forgot that.
I forgot he did the color purple. I forgot he did the color purple.
I mean, you think of the big dogs, but he has such a library. It's insane. And one of the cool things is the amount of influence he had on some other really cool directors.
This right here, Patrick. and he produced these, so it's why I didn't mention it, because we're just specifically talking directors. But the Halo TV series, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons, from a 90s, 2000s kid standpoint. I mean, there's
Now, I also saw one of the guys that was mentioned, maybe by Kaab, or maybe, I don't know, it was either Kaab or Ben, when I was looking him up, the Halo series was going to be his. And it to direct was one of those guys. I saw it, but I don't think he ended up doing it.
Would have been way better if he did.
Well,
yeah, look,
when you're
Eric said, Kirk called me a 9 right away and said, just like my buddy Andy. Yeah, I did. And he took the test, and you perfect. So, and not that matters, but sometimes you can just kind of peg some people. But good pick. You guys like Spielberg by any chance?
I hate him. He's terrible. Not kidding.
Terrible.
Never heard of this guy? Little known guy.
Just a little.
I think my favorite movie of his is probably Lincoln, which is probably not one he's known for, but I love Lincoln.
Lincoln
Just
is
the acting and the directing, it's amazing.
Lincoln is a great movie. And around the same time, there was another Lincoln movie that was awesome. Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And let me tell you something. One of my good friends I worked at Blockbuster with, he was in that movie. And I love that movie. But every time I think of Lincoln and Lincoln Vampire Hunter, they were like very close at the same time, and I always mix them up.
Another really good Abe Lincoln movie. I know that's not what we're talking about. It's Link, so it's perfect, right?
Link.
Is I would say Robin Hood Men in Tights, right? Don't you think, Kirk?
Blinken. Hey, Blinken. No, I said
hey, Blinken.
Blinken. Hey, I got that quote.
So now it actually is your turn. Now it is your turn. Now you're not stealing
it. It is my turn.
Turn.
I keep messing that up because of last month. We did so many It's usually we kind of alternate just 1 month at a time, and now we're kind of doing 2 months at a time. Hey, I'm going in hot. Love Robin Hood Men in Tights. Yes, I do, Farrell. Good pick. I'm coming in again. What I alluded to earlier, these two were kind of already etched in stone for me. It was concrete. I knew exactly where I was going, trying to figure out the rest and kind of paint the picture. But I'm coming in. I already said a couple movies that are similar to this guy. And by the way, Kaab, you just mentioned another movie, a guy that did a movie of a remake of this guy's movie. I'm going with Ridley Scott, who did the original Blade Runner, right? He did the original Blade Runner. He did Legend, Thelma and Louise, G.I. Jane, my favorite movie of all time, Gladiator, which in the midst of me pulling this list up, I found out that Gladiator 2 is in post-production that he did. Napoleon, House of Gucci was a cool movie. And then I already mentioned Alien before. He did Alien Covenant, The Martian, X-Men, Exodus, Gods and Kings, Prometheus, Robin Hood, not Men in Tights, but the one with the version that was mixed very much like Gladiator, like an epic, which was awesome because it had Russell Crowe in it. And then Body of Lies, American Gangster. That was one of the coolest movies ever with Denzel. Kingdom of Heaven was awesome. Matchstick Men, Hannibal, and on my war movie Rushmore, Black Hawk Down. So listen, Ridley Scott, one of my favorites. Whatever he puts out to me, I'm immediately wanting to go to the theater and see it. I don't always like them, but I can tell it's his films. I can tell like he's just so good at what he does, and I love him. I love him. So Ridley Scott, which is similar because I said James Cameron. This is one of the reasons I was trying to get James Cameron off. They are very similar in style, but I just think Ridley Scott's better. And because it's just who it was, and I was trying to bring in some more extra, but I love Ridley Scott, man. Gladiator, literally my favorite movie of all time.
As a side note on Gladiator, I love the movie. I also think best soundtrack of any movie, Gladiator. That's my opinion. But
we did soundtracks, and I didn't even bring that up. It does have an awesome soundtrack, but we were doing we didn't do too many movies that had scores. Like we didn't do too many of those. We did like more of like if you bought the soundtrack, you know the actual song.
Unless it was
But,
John Williams. John Williams scores. Then it's
And
different.
then we did John Hughes movies too.
Lincoln,
So, yeah.
Lincoln, he did Lincoln.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dude, I
So-
love Prometheus.
Ben,
It's like
I've seen you shaking
Yeah.
your head. You love Ridley Scott?
me. Oh yeah, no, I said Prometheus was like. I don't know why, but that was my favorite one that he's done. I mean, Alien's incredible too. Prometheus, the world building in that was just
You know,
You know,
I'll share this. I didn't realize Prometheus was even in the same world until like I watched the movie and then went to the internet. I was like, wait a second, what is happening here? Like I went like kind of not knowing. And then I was like, so like, oh no, what? What is this? Yeah.
There you go, Kirk. For you.
Oh, dude, Queen of the Damned
We did talk
soundtrack
about that.
is really legit. It really is.
We did talk about that. I think Kirk, did you bring it up, or maybe our guest? Somebody brought it up. It was
Our guest
definitely
brought it up.
Yeah.
Our guest brought it up.
Anyway,
Prometheus
yeah.
was so good. I agree, Farrell.
It
I
was.
agree.
Well, dude,
Yeah.
we
so good.
are at the top of the
We're at the
mountain.
George, man. We're at
Number
the George, and
one.
we're losing people left and right. Don't go nowhere. We got lots of bennies.
We have our top 4 people left. There's 4 people watching, so you guys are our
people.
people. That's
So
you, Farrell,
Patrick, hopefully Aaron, and I don't know who else
Aaron.
is left out there. Maybe Normal Khan, which is actually Brittany's brother. So
cool.
Yeah, maybe that's the 4 out there. So
All right.
anyways,
Kaab.
you're up, Kaab. Finish your mountain.
Well, if I didn't allude to it already, my favorite movie of all time since 2020 has been Tenet. Before that, it was Interstellar. And before that, Inception. I love these movies because they keep you awake. You got to think about them and you can watch them again and again and you'll always discover new things. So the one director behind them all, Chris Nolan. He's my Georgie. I knew that the minute you asked me to be on this show. He's my number one. Christopher Nolan.
Now, here's
That's-
the thing. I kind of had a feeling. I kind of had a feeling you were going Christopher Nolan somewhere in this, because you, back in the day, we talked about franchises and reboots. We mentioned The Dark Knight.
The Dark
And you
Knight,
mentioned how much
baby.
you love that. And I'm going to tell you, Chris Nolan was the guy that has been bouncing on and off my number 4 spot all of this time, trying to figure out if I
Whoa.
want him on or want him off.
Memento.
Yeah.
That's a
Good
good
movie.
one. Dude,
Chris
I'm-
Nolan is fantastic. Inception was one of the trippiest movies ever. Memento was cool. But yeah, Dark Knight alone. I was trying to figure out a way to get him on just for that.
Man
but-
of Steel.
All encompassing for a library. He just didn't hold it completely down for me. So I kind of bumped him a little bit. He was jumping on and off. But I'm glad he's here. Great job. Great job. And
He
I
was
saw
gonna be
mention
here.
that I think he kind of realized that you were kind of going there too.
I think anyone that knows me knows Chris Nolan is my number one.
Good pick, man.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt.
In
It's a
the
good one.
comments, what do y'all think about Chris Nolan? Chris Nolan. Andy, you like Dark Knight, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Jay Thompson in the house. Jay Thompson is in the house, man. Jay,
What's up, Jay?
nice to see you, man. I was on Boggs' channel the other day, kind of chatting. I didn't see you. It's good to see you in the comments. We're talking top 4 directors of all time.
Yes.
So if you have any, if you're a movie guy or even a TV guy, you know any directors, drop them in the comments. Yeah, the Batman movies, they're great. Tarantino, number one. So Aaron's going with QT, man. You know, Nolan was close to my top 4, but didn't crack it. I agree. So,
Yeah.
All right, Ben, you're up, bro. What's your
You don't
number
even watch
one? Your
this.
score?
It's
I kind of
British.
think I know
He's
this because you sent me some things, and I think
Oh
you might
yeah,
have-
I didn't realize this sending stuff. Yeah.
it's all cool.
I guess number 1, man, it's the Cornetto trilogy. Just I could go back and rewatch Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End over and over and just be laughing the entire time. His editing style is untouchable. And I've worked for him on Baby Driver, and I just was in awe of how he directs a movie. It's Edgar Wright. So,
There you go.
that's the dude.
Edgar Wright. Yeah, I saw back up there, somebody said Edgar Wright and Chris Nolan. And I was like, uh-oh, this guy's giving him away. I can't remember who that was. But yeah, somebody was dropped. Oh, it was Brittany's brother. Edgar Wright, Carpenter, Kubrick, Tarantino, and then they brought Nolan in here, I think, right? Oh, maybe it wasn't him with the Nolan. But yeah, Edgar Wright. Man, I love these movies. Andy, I think you like these movies too, right?
I was going to let you guys say all the good stuff real quick.
All of the good stuff. Yeah.
And it's not. Let me just. I'm
You
going
don't
to say
like,
what you say.
first off,
and
Brittany doesn't like British, and Shaun of the Dead is British.
I don't. I fell asleep watching Shaun of the Dead, and I wanted to like it. I don't know why. I just. It's like British stuff doesn't, for whatever reason, connect with me.
Have you seen Hot Fuzz?
I didn't like it. Or I didn't.
Actually, Andy,
I know it just
will.
I don't know what it is, man.
I will concur with you. I didn't like it either, and there's just something about Edgar Wright's style that doesn't click with me. I
I get it.
There.
I absolutely love Shaun of the Dead.
With these
Shaun
hot
of the
takes,
Dead
I understand.
probably makes my horror film in a few weeks. So I've already mentioned two of mine.
That my not liking this movie is minority. I understand that I'm the outlier in this. I get it. I totally understand that.
Well,
at least I know I have Kaab on my side, so that's good. That's good.
I agree. I'm in the minority here too, but
so look, James dropping a bunch of names. Sergio Aragones.
Wait, I wanted to say this.
Avery, Michael Palin. Yeah.
British stuff and Paramore.
Not one Tiny Python. Dude, Retro Rewind can't stand Monty as well as you, Andy.
I don't like the whole Monty Python. I don't get it. It just doesn't connect for me.
Look at this.
This doesn't.
Look at this, Andy. British stuff and Paramore is where we
can't be the exact same. I get it. I understand. I get it. I totally understand.
Yeah. Love Python. Jay says love Python. Yeah. Python's good. It's not something that I like to watch all the time. But like Mel Brooks, I don't like watching him all the time either. But I love both of them tremendously.
Also, as a funny little anecdote, Ben's wife just filmed him doing this and sent us a video. So.
Sabrina, come say hi. Come say hi. No? Okay. She's actually my favorite director. She runs his household. She's the best director.
Yeah. So wait, fun story, Ben. Kaab shoots me a message and says, Ben's wife says he's not home yet. And I was like, wait, Ben's married? And I hadn't. The last time I talked to you, you weren't married. Like actually had conversation with you. And then he says, well, here's a little tidbit. If you want to get a hold of Ben's wife runs the whole house with the schedule. You should call her.
I did say that. I did say that.
What you just said was confirmed by Kaab.
Yep. She runs it all. She's the best.
So, guys, if you're just jumping in, Ben is a stuntman and has done several films, and Kaab is one of his best friends, and we did missions work together on the streets of Atlanta. So some of you guys are new and seeing that, so kind of reintroduce them. But yeah, all right, man. So that's a great pick. Edgar Wright. I knew that was kind of your pick. That was when you kind of were like, that's how we landed on this. I was like, so tell me some of the stuff you love. He's like, I love Edgar Wright. And I was like, well, what about directors? You want to do directors? He's like, yeah, awesome. Because we haven't done that one yet. And so I knew that was a good pick. So, all right, Andy, you're up, man. What's your George?
Yep.
All right. So here's the deal.
I think I know this.
I got to get back on the train with my good buddy Aaron Brown because my number one, it was without a doubt Quentin Tarantino for a crush
yeah.
with Kaab. I know, Kirk, I don't know if you've got it queued up.
Yeah,
but,
it's coming. There it is.
We're Crushmore, and I mean, this was no doubt in my mind when you said director. I said, okay, well, it's Quentin Tarantino, and then let me figure the other three out. Like it was without a doubt. I mean, again, we mentioned it before: Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Four Rooms. He directed a segment of Jackie Brown, Kill Bill 1 and 2, Sin City. He did 2 episodes of CSI, by the way, just in case you wanted to know that. Grindhouse, Death Proof, Inglorious, Django Unchained, Hateful Eight. These movies are just so good. And if again, to the criteria of they have a specific style, there's no doubt that when it's a Tarantino movie. I mean, there's a lot of like foul language as part of it, but it's just like the way that it's put together. Everything is so beautifully done. I would say that out of his movies, now Pulp Fiction is probably, used to be one of the most quotable movies to me. It probably is less now because of the language, like I mentioned before. But gosh, that is a tasty burger. Like every time we go to a burger place, the Big Kahuna, that's that Hawaiian joint, huh? Mind if I have some of your Sprite to wash it down? Yeah, it's a great movie. Every movie he puts together too, there's like 95 different A-list actors that jump on it too. It's crazy. But I would say probably his most underrated film, at least from a mass appeal standpoint, to me is Reservoir Dogs. I love Reservoir Dogs. It's a fantastic movie. Four Rooms is fantastic too. But gosh, he just so many amazing things. He directed 1 episode of ER in 1995, so he does count for TV as well. In case you wanted to know that too, he has a credit as directing an episode of Jimmy Kimmel Live, 2004. I don't know how great that is, but I have faith in you once again. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino. There was no doubt in my mind. In fact, there's movies, and again, to my point about they have a specific style, and you know who this is. For a while, the movie Get Shorty, I always thought it was a Tarantino movie because it felt like Tarantino, right? Like Get Shorty, and then what was the one after that? They had like the follow up anyway that had Dwayne Johnson
with the Rock.
With the Rock,
the funniest Rock.
Yeah, what was the anyway? Whatever the follow up to that was.
It's called Get something else. Get some. Help us out.
Be cool. Be cool. Be cool.
Oh, be cool. Be cool.
Be cool. Be cool. Yeah. So I always thought that was a Tarantino movie because it just felt like a Tarantino movie, and it wasn't. It's actually Barry Sonnenfeld. But anyway, Quentin Tarantino, Royale with cheese, like I just saw my friend Patrick say in there. Farrell says Jimmy Kimmel Live seems more like a demerit than a credit. But
well, recently, I have to agree. Man,
yeah,
that guy's going
anyway,
off the deep.
Tarantino, number one. There was no doubt in my mind. It had to be Quentin.
Yeah. I mean, we can go on and on. QT, a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of good stuff. Dusk Till Dawn was one of my favorites. George Clooney, that's one of George Clooney's first movies. Salma Hayek, I love that movie. I love how it went like halfway through and then it like switched from just like this old Western to like zombies and the devil and whatever. He just had this weird, uncanny style of shock, almost shock value with not even having to be horror. There was a lot of really cool stuff. Pulp Fiction was cool. We talked about it the other day. In Aaron's room, Mr. Brown. I love the fact that you watch that movie from different takes, right? And like that's a cool thing when you watch movies like that. Like, have you ever seen the movie Go? And you watch that movie from like 5 different perspectives. That's kind of what Pulp Fiction is for me. Just a cool movie, man.
It doesn't start. It starts at the end of the movie, and then you piece in part. Like it's
Tarantino. Just, let me just say this also, and then I'm done with this. Tarantino was on my Benjamins, and again, just like you said, your top 4 are big, but my top 10 are all great. I mean, my top 20 are really all great. To be honest, I could have thrown this list together in different ways. But one of the things that is near and dear to my heart, we talk about soundtracks. When I was in the military, my drill sergeant woke us up every single morning to the Pulp Fiction soundtrack. And in the very beginning, that chick is screaming obscenities about get down, F this, F that, and whatever. And then it goes into, that's how he woke us up. And you'd like, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, we're up. Dude, I hate it for like 2 years after
You paid
that.
$5 for a milkshake? It's gotta be one expense. It's gotta be one tasty milkshake.
I watch this again. It's like bringing back bad memories. Django Unchained is a fantastic film, Brown.
I think Kill Bill is probably my favorite, though. I mean, Pulp Fiction is
I love Kill Bill.
I love Kill Bill.
I love Kill Bill because they
Kung Fu
the heroine of it all. She's just
Uma Thurman
that
is
strong.
fantastic. Uma Thurman is highly.
Uma Thurman is fantastic in that film, and then brings it on again, and there's a bunch of twists in that too. It's kind of filmed like Scott Pilgrim, like in a way that's like it's almost kind of like in a video game. It's kind of cool.
What's the punch called? What's like the death punch? It's like right here. You just do that, and then you're dead, or like that, or whatever.
Like Bruce Lee.
It's that, and then you just walk away, and it's like the exploding heart technique or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, we're talking about Quentin Tarantino for a long time, but Kirk,
we've already talked about QT quite enough, and we've already talked about my guy too. Yeah, it had to be Steven Spielberg. I mean, like, really? Like, when we thought directors, I was like, to me, it's Spielberg, and then, okay, here's Ridley Scott, and then we'll start. Like, it is a big gap to me. Steven Spielberg. But you mentioned a whole bunch of movies, but I don't know that you mentioned all of them. Did you? I mean, how can you mention all of them? We'd be here all night. But if you go all the way back, his first directed film was in 1964. 1964. So he's been, I mean, what's my math? 60 years? 60 years? Like, is that right?
Yeah.
Gosh. He directed a film in 1964. I mean, he had to be like 10. I mean, how old is Spielberg? Like 90? Geez, I didn't think he was that old. I mean, I know he's old, but not that old. Jaws in 1975, Close Encounters of the Third Kind in 1977. Then you had the Indiana Jones, E.T., which I have right here, the whole time hanging out behind me. That disaster. But here's one, bro. I didn't realize this, and I should have because it looks like his film. He didn't direct it, but he was the executive producer, and he wrote the story of Goonies, one of my favorite movies of all time. Empire of the Sun was fantastic. You mentioned Hook. Jurassic Park's one of my franchises. Did you mention Schindler's List? I don't. Maybe you didn't.
Yeah.
That movie is like that has a lot to do with Padre, and if you've ever been there, and that's near and dear to our heart. But gosh, Saving Private Ryan. AI was cool. Minority Report was cool. Catch Me If You Can is one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. Like it's based on a true story, but Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio, fantastic movie. The Terminal with Tom Hanks lives in the airport. I mean, crazy. Adventures of 1010, BFG. He's got a couple things coming out, but Ready Player One. We finished on that one. Ready Player One is one of my favorite books of all time. And I was so excited and glad that Spielberg took that on because it's such a Spielberg type story, and he did fantastic. Obviously, he couldn't put the whole book in there, but I love it. I love it to death. And I can't wait for Ready Player 2 to actually be a movie. But man, Steven Spielberg, Chef's Kiss, everything he does, I'm there. He has such an influence on Zemeckis. He had such an influence on Hughes. He has such an influence on a couple other guys that I have thinking about maybe that are coming up, and probably our Benjamins. He's so good. Just so good.
I mean, yeah, there's like I said, if you want to pick the most impressive list of movies directed. I don't think any of us can disagree that Steven Spielberg's up there for sure. But yeah, fantastic pick, man. Fantastic.
Patrick mentioned something about his drill sergeant. Patrick, I have those stories too. Sounds better than the one time we got woken up, our drill sergeant flipping stuff. Yeah, my stuff got flipped several times. I had one story. Let me just share this real quick and we'll get back. One time we screwed up so bad that we all had to go out and run on the pad and run a mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, 10 miles, whatever the heck it was. It felt like 50 miles back then. And when we came back, our whole room, everything in our room was outside on the deck, all mixed up, and we had till bedtime to get it all back like it was supposed to be in the right order. Crazy. Needless to say, I don't think we finished, and we had to stay extra, and we had to run more because of it. Yeah, crazy. And that was
all right.
And I'll say this: the reason that happened was because one hair was found on the bathroom floor.
There you go.
Anyway.
Well, look, we're not done with our list, man. We have got our honorable mentions because there's plenty more that have not made the list. I'm excited for this. This is going to be fun. It's going to be challenging. This is going to be the lightning round, and we're going to do what we call our Benjamins. That was quick. It was the lightning round of a video there. There we go. Nice. All right. So
we must have both hit it at the same time.
I didn't touch anything. That was all you, baby.
Oh, boy.
Anyway, this is our lightning round, like I just said. So there's no way we can fit all these directors in our top 4. You've been here before. You understand how this works. We are doing. We're each going to give you 4 more. Now, here's the catch: none of us can mention anything that was mentioned before. And within this round, we cannot match anything. So it's kind of a little gamesmanship, a little fun here. We're going to do this as a snake draft style, same order we did, but it's going to reverse back around. So, Kaab, you are going to kick us off. You get the first stab at this. Who did not make anyone's mountain that should have?
Okay, this one's going to be a bit of a curveball. Dick de Benedictus. Not making that name up. He's a TV director, but he directed a lot of episodes in Columbo, Hawaii Five-0, Matlock, and a few other sort of mystery TV shows. And I love.
Dude, that's all my dad's favorite shows of all time. Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, I mean, hey, growing up, this was the favorite pastime with my mom, watching shows like this. So, Dick de Benedictus is one of my favorites.
Oh.
He's got a full name too.
All right, man. Who just missed your mountain?
Ari Aster, the guy who directed Hereditary and what's the other one called? What's the name of the other one?
Midsummer.
Midsummer. Yeah,
Midsummer.
Or sorry, Midsommar. Swedish. Midsommar.
Yeah,
right. That's 2 good picks, man.
Yeah.
Andy, you're up, man.
I'm going to go with Adam McKay. Adam McKay directed Talladega Nights, Anchorman, all of those great Will Ferrell flicks. Just
great films.
These are the kind of movies that I like, Kaab. I don't have to think a lot. I just get to laugh. So Adam McKay had to make my list.
I am so happy that my 2 guys, actually, still all my guys that we're trying to put into number 4 are still available. So I'm going to go with Tim Burton for my first one.
Yep.
Had to have him. Gosh, what a great library he's got. More of a darker side. Everything from Beetlejuice, Corpse Bride, all that stuff. Just fantastic films. And then my next one, I'm going to save that one because I probably will have him later. I'm going to go with Francis Ford Coppola.
Yeah,
which is a lot of the gangster style movies.
You can refuse.
Yeah, a little Godfather, but I mean he's done quite a few more than that. And yeah, he has a lot of the gangster style movies. But yeah, Francis Ford Coppola and Tim Burton.
All right. My next guy on the list, I'm going to go with Frank Darabont. All right. Frank Darabont directed Shawshank Redemption, The Green Mile, The Mist. And also from the TV show side, did some episodes of The Walking Dead and Mob City. So
there goes
I'm
one of
gonna
my
say
picks.
this.
Great pick, by the way.
Andy,
Great
I'm
pick.
just going to say this. I kind of thought that was going to be your number 4.
he was my number 4. Penelope Spheris knocked him off. So
Oh man, I thought I had you pegged for that one because I was like, he loves Shawshank and he has done some other really great stuff. I bet he's going to be number 4. Good pick.
Yeah, he's good. He's good for sure. All right, so we're coming back to you, Ben.
Strictly for one movie, this is the only reason I'm picking this director, but it's the greatest film ever made, in my opinion. Master and Commander, Peter Weir.
Nice. All
Yeah.
right.
I will say this. As a film and something to look at, it's one of the greatest. But that's a Russell Crowe film, and it came out, if I remember correctly, shortly after Gladiator. And I was expecting a little more in that area, and then I was a little depressed. It was beautiful to watch. I own it. I need to go back and watch it again because, again, I was young when I watched it then. I bet I would much more enjoy it now at 45.
It's that whole every frame is a painting. You know, every single shot is so well selected. It's unbelievable. So,
He did Dead Poet Society, which was the same.
That's fantastic as well, but it just doesn't.
Listen, Dead Poet Society.
We've talked about that movie quite a bit.
Dude, if we ever did Robin Williams, we could
Difficult
Robin
list.
Williams.
That's a difficult list. Yeah. All right. So, Kaab, we're to you now. You get 2
on fire.
I get 2 picks. So,
2 picks, Kaab.
So I get 2 picks. So, I mean, this is going to be a bit cliche, a little nerdy, but I love their work on all the Marvel franchises. Sorry, Ben, I know you hate them, but Captain America, Avengers, so the Russo brothers. So I'm picking those 2 as my 1 pick.
Yeah.
Joe and Anthony Russo.
Yeah, that's a pick.
I just
That's
think
a pick
they're
of mine
great.
I had it out there.
Okay. And then kind of pivoting a little bit, this is kind of going more in the theme of patriotism and action, but I love Clint Eastwood and his directing. Sully, American Sniper, like J. Edgar, and to name a few. So
now wait, can I just say this? Because I know we don't usually chat. I put Clint Eastwood, he's on here. I was saving him. I was grabbing him here in this turnaround. Coming back.
Oh, I'm sorry. I took him.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I got plenty. I just want
$1
to
Million Baby.
I did not realize how many films and how long he has been directing. He always gets the acting side. You know, I knew the Gran Torinos and the Curveball movie and you know there's the Unforgiven, I believe, was him. But he was like directing long time ago. I didn't know all the stuff he did. And if you don't, gosh, you need to go look him up because I didn't realize how much he's done. Shocked. I was shocked.
Gran Torino, not to be confused with Gran Turismo. Different movies.
Gran Torino is amazing.
You're going to get a different experience between both of those movies. I'm just saying. So
yeah.
All right, Ben, we're coming back to you, man. Another Benjamin.
Okay, I'll just pick this one now so it doesn't get stolen later. Stanley Kubrick. I can't believe none of us have on there.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Hey,
it's on my list too. So
it's on mine too. So he was sitting there. He was going to get picked at some point. Oh, that's a great one.
Kubrick
awesome.
is really awesome. Full Metal Jacket is just a fantastic film. I always mention this. Kubrick did this short film years ago, and I can't ever find it, but it blew my mind when I saw it. It was like a plane crash, and this dictator is playing chess with real people and acting like he's killing them when they die, and he doesn't really kill them. You have to go watch it. It's freaking awesome. But it's a little short film. I remember it being back in the day, but I think Kubrick did it. Anyways, all right, man. Ben, pick 3 in the Benjamins.
Yeah. Well, no, it's to me now. It's me. All right, here we go. All right.
You.
Yeah, man, this is tough. I got all these guys that I can go between. I'm going to pick this one now just because I just love so many of these movies. I'm going to go with Tony Scott. Tony Scott's going to be my pick. If you like Denzel Washington, you like Tony Scott. Man on Fire, Deja Vu, Taking a Pelham 123, Enemy of the State, True Romance, Last Boy Scout. I mean, just got his, some pretty cool movies there. So Days of Thunder, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Top Gun. Yeah, I mean, just a lot of great movies there. Tony Scott.
Yeah, so you guys left me some good ones left that I really love, and Tony Scott's awesome. He was on my list as well. My first one, this is the one I knew was going to be there because he's like the Nickelback of directors. I don't understand the hate. I'm going with Michael Bay.
Yeah, do it.
Michael Bay. And look, I know he gets a lot of hate for his recent stuff, but his old stuff is off the hook. I absolutely love his filmography. Armageddon. I mean, that alone gets him on the list. But he was a part of the new Turtles, the new Transformers, which gets a lot of hate. And I don't understand why. But
Kirk, I need you to pick this guy for your next one. I need you to pick this guy so I don't have to, because there's other ones that I want to pick, but I need you to
pick this guy so you don't have to. So let me see if I can figure out on my list who you're naming.
Either way you go, I got somebody to pick, but
I mean, I have a lot of them here, and so there's two guys I have left, but both of these guys only have one franchise that I really want to pick, and I'm going to leave one probably for you, Andy, but I'm going with the other one. I'm going with Peter Jackson, and all of the
So I'm not. I wasn't picking that route. I was not.
I knew you wouldn't go that route, so I was saving the other one for you.
No, I didn't want you to do that. I wanted you to pick the one I was going to pick because
I wanted to mention this one, so I knew you wouldn't pick that.
I get it. I was never going to pick Peter. Not never for any reason. It just wasn't.
Exactly.
He was on my list, Peter Jackson. So.
Man, which one do I want to do for my last one?
I have one that I thought you might mention, Andy, that I didn't think anybody else would mention because it was a shocker for me when it came up, and I was like, I wonder if Andy will say that one.
So I think I'm gonna pick this one primarily. I mean, he's got some movies, he's got some things that people are not too sure about, but it really kind of again goes into my criteria of you really know when it's this guy, right? And I'm gonna go to M. Night Shyamalan. M. Night Shyamalan. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna, again, Sixth Sense, Signs, The Village, The Happening. You got these great movies. It's when you think
Lady
of a plot twist, Lady in the Water. You think of a plot twist, you think of M. Night Shyamalan. So I had to pick him. Man, there's so many other good ones on this list. So. That's my last
pick. He's a good pick. He's on my list. The one thing that I have against Shyamalan, and I told this to Aaron, I love his films, but they're not rewatchable for me. Maybe rewatchable one time just to see what you missed. Third time,
yeah. Well, you want to talk about The Sixth Sense? Like, if you didn't catch it
the first time, and then you rewatch it the second time, knowing he was actually dead. Sorry if you're out there and you didn't realize that. But a third time, I don't want to watch it.
It's been long enough. It's no longer
like The Village. Once you find out they're not really out in the woods. I mean, they're not.
But that one time you watch that thing, that once or twice that you watch that thing, it has got you hooked.
Yeah, it's a 1-2 time.
Signs was cool, dude. That one scene in Signs that stills nightmare fuel of the alien walking by, dude.
Yep.
I'm out. I'm done.
He's on my list. I that's just why I didn't mention him yet. But yeah.
All right, Ben, you get your last pick here, man. What you got?
Man, it's super basic, but just like a childhood one is Jared Hess, the director of Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre. There's another one called Gentlemen Broncos. Dude, I just love that guy. Well, there's the brothers, but Jared Hess is the main one. I worked for him on a show before.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if Aaron's still out there. But there's a kid in my school. His name, well, I won't say his name. He was in my class today, and he walked up and he was like, "Hey, Mr. P, What time is it? I said, bro, do you know that every time you come and talk to me, I think of Napoleon Dynamite? What's that? I'm like, he's pegged for it. He's pegged for it. Except he's Indian. So, yeah. But yeah, I told him that today. So Napoleon Dynamite was on my mind today. Good list. Best director ever is Kevin Smith. Hey, random rips. Since you said Kevin Smith, I'm gonna bring it back. Hey, random rips, don't go nowhere. Check this out.
What's up, everybody? This is Ming Chen from Anthony's Comic Book Man. It's all about your top 4 and nothing more.
There it is.
There it is. In all its glory. All right. Yeah. So, random rips. We were in a convention and we got to meet Ming. We have another one with Sergeant Slaughter. Hopefully, you guys will go watch those up. Oh, look, Aaron. There's Aaron. Completely forgot about Kevin Smith. Wouldn't make my top 4, but certainly Aaron. I know you know who I'm talking about. He was in my class today. So, anyways,
Tom, quick, man, you get to close this
off
out.
this movie directors, and let's go home.
I will close us out with a classic. Without him, there'd be no Spielberg, none of these people. Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Vertigo, Bon Voyage, but even his silent films that people don't know about, like The Farmer's Wife, The Ring. I love them all.
Yeah.
So Alfred Hitchcock.
Good job.
Hitchcock is on my list. As I get older, in Kaab, I've known you long enough that I know you like this stuff. I just don't. I want to watch movies that are fun and entertaining. I don't want to watch black and white films. I don't want to watch films I have to read. I just don't have time for it. Like back in the day, I used to love Hitchcock, and now I go back and I watch, and I'm like, yeah, it doesn't it doesn't do anything for me anymore. But they're brilliant. The Birds
so good.
was one of the scariest movies I ever watched in my life. I remember watching that as a kid, like teenager, like early preteen. Scary stuff, man. That's nightmare fuel. But yeah. How about Mel Brooks? I kind of mentioned him a little bit, random rips. Kind of mentioned him a little bit. I love Mel Brooks. He's on my list. Missing out on Pan's Labyrinth. He was on my list too. Guillermo del Toro. He was on my list too. He's in my short list.
There's so many people we couldn't mention today.
Yeah.
So many.
So that is our show. All 7 of you still hanging out. Do us a favor. Go hit the like button while you're here. If you haven't subbed already, sub. This is our show. We've got a couple things coming up. Next week, Next Gen Nerd with fantasy movies. Then we have Mark, who is a horror writer. He's doing horror films. We got Five Nights at Freddy's actors, Hank and Carl. That's Christian and Joseph. They're coming on the show to do video game movies. And then we're going to do we're going to have Dopesmack on. We haven't nailed out a topic yet. We have 2 openings that we have 2 guys that we're probably going to come on. But here's the one thing. Andy and I are going to be at camp and some other things we have to pre-record. So when we find the right day, we'll have the right topic. And then we're going to end the movies with top 4 Jedi. And I'm just going to share it with you. Not all the Jedi are going to be in movies and TV because I'm bringing on a Star Wars super buff. He knows everything about it. So that's going to be movies and TV, and then we'll jump into nostalgia. Feral Inferno's in the comments. Hopefully we have you. We have a whole bunch of people lined up for nostalgia already, and it's going to be fantastic. We'll start nailing out those topics and dates soon. St. Tammany Collectors Con was fantastic, but the next one has already been booked in September, and the Louisiana RetroCon is going to be, I think, it's in October this year. That's our next 2 times preaching. Be on the lookout in our homepage on the YouTube and obviously all the socials down below for us to be dropping some nerd in the word, some fun stuff. Everything from all the 6 things that we do, whether it's video games, movies, nostalgia, food. We're going to do fun messages with pop culture that lead folks, hopefully, to the gospel. And, man, we just thank everybody for being here. So, guys, Kaab and Ben. Kaab, you go first. Thank you for being here. If people wanted to find you or you got going on in your life, let some people know. Tell everybody good night and goodbye. And this is your time to shine, bud.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me. I don't have any platform or social media, but if you want to find me, probably Passion City Church on Sundays.
Yeah, this is
Maybe
our
inside
Canadian by
or
way of
park, yeah.
Pakistan.
Maybe
Hopefully,
inside or maybe in the parking lot, but you'll find me there.
Hopefully your family isn't watching, but hello, family from Pakistan, if you are. And yeah, Ben, tell us what you got coming up, going on, where they can find you. Here's one thing, guys. Go look up. His name is in the title. Go look him up in IMDb. You can see all the stuff. That's all you got to do. But hey, Ben, tell us what you got going on.
Yeah, just if you guys like cool sword work, because we're trying to bring more of a Western flair to the Hollywood scene, and we have a channel called the Amalgam Sword Company. You can find it on Instagram or YouTube. It's pretty small. It's kind of just within the industry, but we just try to bring Western swordsmanship to life. So check it out. Amalgam Sword Company.
Can you type the title in the comments for him?
Can I? I think I can. In the chat?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yes. I'm doing it now.
And so while he does that, friends, yeah, find us on socials. We just hit our 1,000th follower on YouTube. We're probably going to be switching
Instagram.
some of our content from Twitch to YouTube here shortly, although they only let you stream for an hour. And Andy and I and my son, we're going to start streaming some video games in the future too, which will go back to Twitch. Andy and I are finishing up our school, so we're going to have a little bit more time, but it's also more time to dedicate to our family, hence the reason we're doing this. So you guys continue to pray for the channel, pray for what we got going on, and we thank all of you for being out there so much. And goodbye to Random Rips, Patrick, Farrell, Aaron, Normal Khan, yeah, everybody that is in this chat, we thank you. There's people we missed. Yeah, Nolan's great. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim. I love all that. I'm scrolling back some of the stuff that I missed. But, man, Andy, fantastic show. I'm excited for the next one. Tell everybody good night. It's time to go to bed.
Thanks for joining us tonight. For everybody who stuck around in the comments, thank you, Summit Squad. Again, to reiterate everything, it would mean the world to us if you just hit that subscribe button. That's all it takes, right? It would be a lot of fun if you guys would hang out, come join us on some future streams and things like that. But anyway, love you guys, and we're going to say goodnight like we always do. This is the Rushmore Show, where it's all about your top four.
And nothing more.
And nothing more.